Hey everyone, it's Craig. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're a federal employee or you know somebody who's a federal employee, then this video is critical for you. The Trump administration just unveiled a 2026 budget plan that proposes cutting over 107,000 non-defense federal jobs. And that's just the beginning. Some agencies are looking at layoffs up to 30% or more in 2026. And so today we're going to break down exactly what's happening, what agencies are most affected, and most importantly, 5 powerful ways that you can prepare, pivot, and thrive, even if you're caught in the crosshairs of government RIF or government federal cuts or shutdowns or anything like that. Now, this video is based on a government executive article that was published on June 3rd. It's titled, Trump is Planning to Slash 107,000 Federal Jobs Next Year and See Where. And if you'd like to read that full article, I've included the link down in the show notes. And let's dive in. So what's happening? Here's the situation that's occurring. Trump's fiscal 2026 budget includes massive workforce reductions across nearly every civilian agency. You've heard about this in the news. We're talking about a net cut of 107,000 jobs, 7% overall reduction, which is a great hit. But that number doesn't even include proposed layoffs at the Department of Veterans Affairs or the Department of Defense, which are expected to cut an additional 140,000 jobs combined. Now, some of the hardest hit agencies will include the Department of Education. Now, the Department of Education was already trying to cut about 1/3 of its workforce. The Department of Labor, the HUD, and Agriculture, they're cutting 20 to 30% of those jobs. NASA is slashing its science and STEM offices. The IRS is getting business systems modernization. FEMA and TSA are cutting over 10,000 jobs combined, and then the USDA is nearly losing 4,000 in conservation and forecasting positions. Now, you might ask, what does this mean for federal workers? And this isn't just about numbers. These are real people with real families, mortgages, career goals. And one of the things that has been really crazy about some of these federal job cuts is some of the people that have been working on these federal jobs have been working on federal jobs for many, many years. Some are close to retirement, and all of you are familiar with the news that came at the beginning of this year where a lot of the agencies were being cut, but then there were a lot of RIFs and a lot of forced retirements, all of those kinds of things. And so these are actually, it's important to understand, these are actually people that are associated with these jobs, that are using these federal jobs, and that are working these federal jobs for their own income, their financial stability, and those things. And so really, really important to understand how these cuts affect folks, because it's going to affect families all across the U.S. Many of these cuts are currently paused under court order, but if the injunctions are lifted, pink slips could start going out within weeks. So we don't know exactly how the courts are going to decide all of these different things. There are some cases that are going up to the Supreme Court. And I believe in certain of those cases, on June the 9th, which is early next week, they'll be hearing oral arguments. But then after they hear oral arguments, it could be months, maybe even over a year before the decision is made. So it really does depend on how quickly the courts and the executive branch wants to get this done, or even the congressional branch, to the degree that they have any say-so on how these things go. So important that you understand this news, and even if you're not directly affected, ripple effects will be felt in workload morale and how services are delivered to the public. You can feel that at work if you're a government employee, and if you're somebody who is supported by government employees or who is related to anything specific to government work or federal contracting, you're going to be affected by these different cuts. Now, I want to get into the next segment of the video, which is 5 ways to prepare and to thrive. 5 ways to prepare and to thrive. Now, the first way is you want to build a career transition plan right now. It should have been very apparent to us earlier in 2025, particularly when all the Doge stuff first started coming out, that we should have been preparing and building transition career plans. And so what you want to do is you want to start revising your resume for both private and sector contracting roles. I've done a ton of videos on this. And so you want to take a look at some of the other videos that I have posted on my channel, on my YouTube channel, that talks about career growth, talks about resume prep, talks about cover letter prep, all of those kinds of things. You want to use LinkedIn, USA Jobs, and veteran career sites. Now, if you're a veteran, you want to use your transition and VA benefits to get certified in high demand areas. And I'll talk about something else that I offer to veterans once we get closer to the end of this video. The next thing you want to do, number 2, is you want to upskill in high growth areas. All right, agencies like the DHS and FAA are still hiring, actually, and they're hiring positions of IT and cybersecurity. So if you are adept in those fields, or you want to get to learn more about those fields, it could be something that's very lucrative for you. And it actually could be something that's a good career change if you want to get into those fields and still work for the federal government or contractors that are related to the federal government. You want to train up in data, cybersecurity, AI, procurement, and program management, because those are pretty hot fields, no matter whether you work for the government or whether you don't. The third thing you want to do is you want to consider independent contracting or consulting. If you've been in the government for many years, your institutional knowledge is valuable. As a matter of fact, you've probably dealt with all of these companies while you've been a federal employee. If you've been in the niche of program management, project management, contracting, human resources, you're already on the level of dealing with these folks. So you want to leverage all of those skills and experiences. You want to make sure you prepare your resume that transitions, I got videos about this too, transitions your skills in the federal workforce over to the skills that would be applicable and would be useful in the private sector. So the fourth thing you want to do is you want to strengthen your emergency fund and side income. Now, this is a little bit more coming down personal, the personal vein, or the personal things for people, which, are how your finances are set up, how things are going in your bank accounts, how you're providing for your needs and necessities. All right. Now it's a time to budget. All right. You got to get lean, or as we used to say in the Marine Corps and in the Navy, get skinny. Right. Get skinny. That means if somebody important is coming down the hallway, you get skinny, get out of the way. Right. So in this particular juncture, you're talking about your finances. You want to get lean. You want to make sure you pare down everything, because you don't exactly know how things are going to go in the future. You want to build an emergency fund, consider side hustles and gig work like teaching, coaching, freelancing. Even if you want to think about Uber Eats, driving, door dashing, all of those kinds of things. Anything you can do to make up the time before you find something that you feel like is a little bit more stable. And then this might be the best time to branch off into doing your own business, branch off into establishing your own small business, establishing your own thing. Maybe even you do it outside of your 9-to-5 that you find, so that you can eventually grow that. And I have more videos on that as well that I talk about side hustles and 9-to-5, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that as this channel grows in the future. And the last thing is you want to take care of your mental and your emotional health. Now, I've talked a lot about this on this channel. In fact, this is a mental and emotional health channel. And I think that these types of things that happen in the federal government are akin to mental and emotional health, very closely related to it. And so you want to make sure that you're tackling your mental and emotional health. Make sure that these things aren't getting you down. Get up, go for a walk, go for a bike ride. Where I'm living, it's raining outside today, so you can't really do much outside activity. But if you got something on the inside, right, like there's plenty of physical exercise you can do. There's plenty of activities you can do. You can do arts and crafts. You can, you don't have to necessarily sit and binge on Netflix all day or just look at your phone. You actually can do some physical activities that will really help as you're going through this time, because this is the time when stress levels are very, very high. And unfortunately, we have unaliving ideation and those kinds of things that are prevalent when people lose their job, the thing that is causing them to be able to provide, things that cause them to be able to operate and work for their families and get the things that they need. And when that's taken away from people, when that's taken away from you, I'm sure all of us have experienced it. There's high levels of stress. So we want to make sure that we take care of our mental and emotional health and even our physical health. And we want to make sure that we are doing the things that keep the blood flowing, keep our hopes up, right? And keep positive vibes going, right? And I am a Christian. So what I do is I read the Word of God. I study the Word of God. I pray, I worship. And that's what helps me get through the day. knowing and having a deep relationship with Jesus Christ. And so that's what I do. Whatever it is that you do, as far as getting into spirituality, meditation, all of those things, take the time to take care of your mental health while you're doing this. And again, I've got videos and free templates about how to maintain your mental health during times like this for Fed workers, for veterans, and for anybody else who's going through these different kinds of unemployment, job layoffs, RIFs, cuts, those kinds of things. It can be very, very stressful. So I'm looking at you in the camera right now and saying, please take care of your mental health. We need you here. Look, we don't know exactly how all of this will play out, but one thing's for sure, preparation beats panic every single time. So whether you're facing a reduction in force or just worried about your future, this channel is here to help you pivot with power and step into your next chapter with confidence. Like this video and share it with somebody who may be going through the thing you're going through, or maybe someone you know who's a Fed worker who might be going through this. Share it with them. Tell them about this channel and give them resources that will help them, because they really need this information right now. And a lot of people are confused. A lot of people are disappointed. A lot of people are stressed. And so we want to make sure that we help all of the people who have earned and worked for so long and need guidance for the future. So let's be proactive and not reactive. All right. If you're a veteran watching this and these federal job cuts hit close to home, whether you're currently in government or transitioning out, you don't have to face this alone. At Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting, I created the Live Royally, Live Well Veteran Resilience and Transition Coaching Program, an 8-week guided experience built by a veteran for veterans. We address the top 7 challenges veterans face after service, from navigating job loss, emotional health and VA benefits, to rebuilding purpose and confidence in civilian life. And that's so important. You'll get weekly coaching from me, guided exercises, resume support, career strategy, even faith-based integrated encouragement, all tailored specifically for your journey and your journey alone. Now, the spots are limited. We offer veteran discounts and payment plans if you need that, and hardship scholarships to make sure that the cost is never a barrier for you getting the help and the guidance and the growth that you need. So if you're ready to reclaim your purpose, regain clarity, and build your next chapter, I want you to reach out to me at craigc at royalrockllc.com. The link in the description. Follow me for all of these great things that we have for you, and to get into the coaching program, you can reach out to me directly. Always remember, live royally and live well. And your service isn't over. It's just evolving. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time.